Hey Snapchat, today is Tactical Tuesday and I want to cover how to raise funds when you're in a non-VC market. You may know, but the vast majority of VC dollars go into the San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, New York, and Boston. Of course, you have secondary markets like Austin, Boulder, Seattle, Portland. There are other markets you can raise capital, they're just less available. If you're in great cities that just have less VC, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Atlanta, Miami, you name it, you're going to have to think about alternate ways to get VC. First, I need to explain to you why it's harder to raise VC in this market and why VCs are less likely to commit. The first reason is VCs like to have more oversight. They like to be able to meet on a more regular basis, which is hard to do if you're not in the same city. If a VC's in San Francisco, they probably regularly travel to LA and New York anyways for other business. I know that I personally live on that triangle between New York, San Francisco, and LA. So my willingness to make investments in those three areas is infinitely greater than other cities for reasons that I'll explain. It's very easy for me to schedule board meetings in New York because I'm there 8 to 10 times a year, Silicon Valley 12 to 14 times a year. If I do an investment in Portland, that means that I have to make purposeful trips to Portland, which I will do in some circumstance. It's generally less likely if it's an early stage deal. I'm probably going to want more proof points to make those trips. When you think about how often VCs already have to travel, not just for portfolio companies, but LPs and conferences, etc., adding 8 trips a year to a new city is hard. No reason to hate the system, just understand it and find ways to use it to your benefit. Number 1, find VCs who are from your region already. If you're in Detroit, there's a whole bunch of VCs from Detroit. You know they're going to be there at least once, if not twice a year to see family already. You also know that they already understand the benefits of your local ecosystem, so they're more bought into the benefits. Number 2, find VCs who have already done deals in your area, even if they're not from your area. If I'm already traveling to Cleveland 4 or 5 times a year for another portfolio, it's infinitely easier for me to commit to a second deal or a third deal. But number 3 is the most important advice. I'm going to tell you how to take the issue off the table. You need to address the issue head on. You need to tell the VC that you know it's much less likely they're going to want to travel to Pittsburgh 6 times a year. And if you're in Pittsburgh pitching someone in San Francisco, what you need to say is, look, I already come to San Francisco 8 times a year. I'm willing to come to you. I'm willing to do 6 board meetings in the San Francisco area if you commit to once a year coming to Pittsburgh for a board meeting. Nobody's going to pass on an investment for 1 trip they have to make per year. It's the 6 to 8 that are harder to commit to. And no VC is going to want to feel like they're forcing you to come to their city 6 to 8 times a year. So by making it clear that you regularly need to be there anyway for business, it lowers the barrier for someone to tell you no. Now I want to cover what to do if you're in an international market but trying to raise from the US. It is not sufficient to say when we raise money, we will commit to a team being in the US market. So if you're serious about entering the US, you've got to establish a presence, even a small presence in advance. You've got to commit to yourself camping out for long periods of time in the US to have multiple touch points with investors. If you really want US investors, and I'm not saying it's be all end all, but if that's your objective, then consider creating a topco, your top organization, as a legal entity in the United States. Just know that investors tend to be reluctant to invest in foreign jurisdictions for a reason. There's nothing wrong with foreign jurisdictions, but as an investor, if you don't know that region well, you're less likely to commit given the challenges you'll have with understanding taxes, understanding local laws, understanding corporate governance, and protection of investors. Hopefully you found some of those tips will increase the probability of your being able to raise money if you're in a non-VC market.